The scream pierced through the quiet morning air as Sienna collapsed in the parking lot, her designer heels skidding across the wet asphalt. Blood seeped through her silk blouse, the same crimson as her lipstick, the same red as the Ferrari she had arrived in. "I cannot go," she whispered, tears streaming down her dark brown face as the world began to blur around her. Not like this. Not today. 20 minutes earlier, Cole Harris had kissed his daughter goodbye at the school gates, promising to pick her up on time for once. "Pinky promise, Daddy," the 7-year-old had asked, extending her tiny finger with solemn importance, her natural hair styled in 2 perfect puffs that Cole had spent 20 minutes perfecting that morning. "Pinky promise," he had replied, linking his oil-stained finger with hers. He watched her skip into the building, her little backpack bouncing, before checking his watch. He was already late opening the garage. But what was new? Single parenthood and punctuality rarely went hand in hand. The mechanic shop he owned, barely kept afloat these days, sat just 2 blocks from Westfield Elementary and 3 blocks from the city's most exclusive shopping district. It was a strange location, a working-class establishment wedged between worlds of privilege. Cole had inherited it from his father, who had inherited it from his father before him. 3 generations of Harris men with grease under their fingernails and honest work in their hearts. His grandfather had opened the shop in 1962, one of the first black-owned businesses in this part of the city. And Cole carried that legacy with pride, even when the bills threatened to bury him. Cole was unlocking the garage door when he heard it. The unmistakable purr of a Ferrari engine, followed by the screech of brakes and then silence. He did not turn around. Rich people and their fancy cars were a common sight in this neighborhood, though they rarely stopped at his humble shop. Then came the scream. He spun around to see a woman crumpled on the ground beside a gleaming red Ferrari, clutching her side. Without thinking, Cole ran toward her, his heart pounding against his ribs. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" he called, kneeling beside her. Up close, everything about her screamed money. The perfectly styled locks that framed her beautiful dark face, the manicured nails, the watch that probably cost more than his annual income. She was stunning, even in distress, her deep brown skin glistening with a sheen of sweat, her features contorted in pain. "I cannot go," she whispered again, her eyes fluttering. "The meeting, my company. I cannot." Cole noticed the blood spreading across her blouse. "You need a hospital now." "No hospitals," she protested weakly. "No time. The acquisition meeting is in an hour. Billions at stake." Cole almost laughed at the absurdity. "Lady, you are bleeding out in a parking lot? Whatever meeting you have can wait." Her eyes, a striking shade of brown with hints of amber, suddenly focused on him with surprising clarity. "You do not understand. If I do not make that meeting, 2,000 people lose their jobs, including mine." Something in her voice, the raw determination beneath the pain, struck Cole. He recognized it. It was the same desperation he felt every month when bills piled up and Ava needed new shoes or school supplies. "My car," Cole said, making a split-second decision. "It is not fancy, but it runs. Hospital first, then your meeting if the doctors clear you." She started to protest, but another wave of pain silenced her. Cole carefully helped her to her feet and guided her to his battered pickup truck parked behind the garage. He noticed how light she felt despite her height, how she leaned into him with reluctant trust. "I am Cole," he said, helping her into the passenger seat. "Sienna," she replied through gritted teeth. "Sienna Vale." The name registered vaguely in Cole's mind. He had seen it in business magazines at the barber shop, associated with tech innovation and corporate leadership. Sienna Vale, 32-year-old self-made millionaire, CEO of Vale Tech Solutions. He remembered now the articles praising her as one of the most successful young black women in the tech industry, breaking barriers and building empires. As Cole pulled onto the road, he glanced at the woman beside him. Her face was pale beneath her natural complexion, her breathing shallow. "What happened to you anyway?" "Appendicitis, I think," she murmured. "Been ignoring the pain for days. Too busy." Cole shook his head. "No meeting is worth dying for." "Easy for you to say," she snapped, then immediately softened. "I am sorry. That was uncalled for." "No, you are right," Cole replied, accelerating through a yellow light. "What would I know about high-stakes business? I am just a mechanic trying to keep my shop from going under while raising a kid alone." The silence that followed was heavy with unspoken understanding. Two people worlds apart, both fighting their own battles, both carrying weights that threatened to crush them. "How old?" Sienna finally asked. "My daughter?" 7. Name is Ava. "Her mother?" Cole's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Cancer. 3 years ago." Sienna closed her eyes. "I am sorry." "Yeah, me too." The emergency room was crowded, but Sienna's condition got her immediate attention. Cole found himself pacing the waiting room, wondering why he was still there. He should be at the garage. He had appointments, bills to pay, a life that did not include worrying about millionaire CEOs with appendicitis. Yet he stayed, unable to shake the image of her determined eyes, the way she had trusted him without hesitation. An hour later, a nurse approached him. "Mr. Harris?" "Ms. Vale is asking for you." Cole followed the nurse to a small recovery room where Sienna lay in a hospital bed, looking smaller somehow without her power suit and commanding presence. Her locks were spread across the pillow, and for a moment, she looked almost vulnerable. "They are prepping me for surgery," she said without preamble. "Ruptured appendix. Could have killed me if I'd waited any longer." She paused, meeting his eyes. "Thank you." Cole shrugged. Anyone would have done the same. "No," Sienna said firmly. "They would not have. Most people in this city would have walked right past me, especially knowing who I am. People see the success and assume I do not need help. Or worse, they want something in return." "I did not know who you were," Cole admitted. "Exactly." A ghost of a smile touched her lips. "That is why I need to ask you a favor. A big one." Cole raised an eyebrow. "I am listening." "The meeting. It is at Westbrook Tower in 40 minutes. I need someone to go in my place to ask for a postponement. Not a cancellation. They will walk if it is canceled. Just buy me some time." Cole laughed, then realized she was serious. "You want me, a mechanic with grease under his nails, to walk into a boardroom full of suits and represent you?" "Yes," Sienna said simply. "Because you will tell the truth, and because I trust you. You do not even know me. I know enough." Her brown eyes held his with an intensity that made his breath catch. "You stopped for a stranger in distress. You put my needs above your own. That tells me everything important about your character. In my world, people calculate every move. You just acted." Cole ran a hand through his short-cropped hair. "This is crazy. Welcome to my world." Sienna reached for her purse and pulled out a business card and a small key. "My assistant Ethan will meet you in the lobby. Show him this card. The key is to my briefcase in the Ferrari. There is a tablet inside with the presentation. Just tell them I am in emergency surgery and need 24 hours." Cole took the card and key, feeling as though he had stepped into someone else's life. "And if they say no?" Sienna's expression hardened. Then 2,000 people lose their livelihoods because a bunch of venture capitalists cannot wait one day for a woman having emergency surgery. Put that way, Cole could not refuse. He thought about his own employees, the two part-time guys who depended on the garage. He thought about what it would mean if someone held their futures hostage over a scheduling inconvenience. I will do my best. That is all I ask. As Cole turned to leave, Sienna called after him. Cole, the Ferrari keys are in my coat pocket. Take it. He stared at her. You want me to drive your Ferrari? It is faster than your truck, she said practically, and it might help with credibility when you arrive. Driving the Ferrari was like nothing Cole had ever experienced. The engine responded to the lightest touch, the leather seat cradling him like nothing he had ever felt. For a brief moment, he allowed himself to imagine a different life. One where he was not constantly worried about money, where Ava could have new shoes whenever she needed them, where his garage was thriving instead of barely surviving. His father had never known this kind of luxury, had worked himself to exhaustion keeping the shop alive. His grandfather had built something from nothing in an era when black men were denied bank loans and business licenses. Then reality intruded as he pulled up to Westbrook Tower, a gleaming monolith of glass and steel that seemed to touch the clouds. The valet's eyes widened at the sight of Cole in his work clothes and boots emerging from Sienna's Ferrari. Cole saw the calculation in the young man's eyes, the assumption, and then the confusion. I am here for the Vale meeting, Cole said, trying to project confidence he did not feel. As promised, Ethan was waiting in the lobby. He was a slim black man with wire-rimmed glasses and an impeccably tailored suit who looked Cole up and down with barely concealed concern. Ms. Vale sent you? He asked. Cole handed him the business card. She is in emergency surgery, ruptured appendix. She asked me to request a 24-hour postponement. Ethan's professional demeanor reasserted itself, though Cole could see the worry in his eyes for his boss. I see. Well, this is unexpected, but if Sienna trusts you. He gestured toward the elevator. Follow me, Mr. Harris. The elevator whisked them to the 50th floor where a reception area led to a massive boardroom. Through the glass walls, Cole could see a dozen men and women in expensive suits, checking watches and scrolling through phones. He noticed he was one of only 3 black people visible, counting Ethan. Wait here, Ethan instructed, entering the room alone. Cole watched as Ethan spoke to the group, gesturing occasionally in his direction. Several heads turned to stare at him, expressions ranging from curiosity to outright disdain. He recognized those looks. He had seen them his whole life, the way some people assessed and dismissed him in the same glance. After what felt like an eternity, Ethan emerged. They want to hear it from you. Directly. Cole swallowed hard. What do I say? The truth, Ethan replied, echoing Sienna's words. Just the truth? She always says that is the most powerful thing anyone can offer. Heart pounding, Cole entered the boardroom. The conversation died immediately, all eyes turning to him. He felt the weight of their stares, the judgment, the skepticism. But he had faced worse. He had buried his wife. He had raised a daughter alone. He had kept a business alive through a pandemic and a recession. These people in their fancy suits did not scare him. Gentlemen, ladies, Cole began, his voice steadier than he expected. My name is Cole Harris. Sienna Vale is currently in emergency surgery for a ruptured appendix. She asked me to come here and request a 24-hour postponement of this meeting. A silver-haired black man at the head of the table leaned forward, his presence commanding the room. And you are? I am a mechanic. I own Harris Garage on Elm Street. Miss Vale collapsed outside my shop this morning. Murmurs rippled through the room. The silver-haired man, clearly the leader, studied Cole with shrewd eyes that had seen decades of negotiations and power plays. Mr. Harris, do you know what this meeting is about? Cole shook his head. No, sir. I just know that Miss Vale said 2,000 jobs depend on it. Indeed. The man steepled his fingers. We are here to discuss the acquisition of Vale Tech Solutions by Westbrook Industries, a deal worth billions that Miss Vale has been fighting for months. Cole frowned. Fighting for or against? The question seemed to surprise the man. Against, initially. But market pressures have forced her hand. Today was to be the final negotiation before signing. Something did not add up. Why would Sienna be so desperate to attend a meeting to sell her company when she had been fighting against it? Cole thought of the determination in her eyes, the way she had said 2,000 people lose their jobs. Sir, Cole said slowly, I do not know much about business. But I know people, and I know that Sienna Vale was willing to risk her life to be here today. Not to surrender, but to fight for those 2,000 employees. She built something. She's not the type to give it up without a fight. The room fell silent. The silver-haired man's expression was unreadable. You seem very certain of Miss Vale's intentions for someone who just met her this morning. Cole met his gaze steadily. Sometimes you learn more about a person in a moment of crisis than in years of casual acquaintance. When everything is stripped away, you see who they really are. A woman at the far end of the table suddenly laughed. She was striking, with natural hair cropped close to her head and an elegant presence that commanded attention. He has got you there, Charles. She turned to Cole. I am Rowan Westbrook. This is my father, Charles Westbrook. And you are right. Sienna was not coming here to surrender. She was coming with a counteroffer. Charles Westbrook's jaw tightened. Rowan. No, Dad. I am tired of the games. Rowan stood, addressing the room. Sienna Vale built her company from nothing. She has created more innovation in 5 years than Westbrook has in 20. We should not be acquiring her. We should be partnering with her. She is exactly the kind of visionary leader we need, not as a subordinate, but as an equal. Cole watched the power dynamics shift in the room, feeling like an observer in a play he did not fully understand. But he understood people, and he could see the respect in some eyes, the resistance in others. Charles Westbrook's expression darkened. This is hardly the time or place. Actually, Cole interrupted, surprising himself with his boldness. It seems like exactly the time and place. Miss Vale risked her life to be here today. The least you can do is wait 24 hours to hear what she has to say. She deserves that respect. The room fell silent again. Then, unexpectedly, Charles Westbrook smiled. A small, tight smile, but genuine, nonetheless. You are either very brave or very foolish, Mr. Harris. He glanced around the table. All in favor of postponing until tomorrow afternoon? Hands rose around the table. Rowan Westbrook's was the first, her eyes meeting Cole's with something like approval and curiosity. Motion carried, Charles announced. We reconvene tomorrow at 2 p.m. Please extend our well wishes to Miss Vale for a speedy recovery. As the meeting dispersed, Rowan approached Cole. That was quite something, Mr. Harris. Not many people stand up to my father like that. Certainly not strangers who walk in off the street. Cole shrugged. I was just keeping a promise. Well, your promise may have just saved Vale Tech Solutions. She handed him her card. If you ever decide you want more than being a mechanic, give me a call. Cole pocketed the card with a polite nod, but knew he would never use it. His place was at his garage, with his tools and his daughter. Not in this world of glass towers and power plays. His grandfather had built something real, something that served the community. That legacy meant more to him than any corporate title. When Cole returned to the hospital, he found Sienna awake and alert, though clearly still recovering from surgery. Her locks were pulled back from her face, and without makeup, she looked younger, more vulnerable. "How did it go?" she asked immediately. Cole recounted the meeting, watching her expression shift from anxiety to relief to something like wonder. "You stood up to Charles Westbrook?" she asked incredulously. "The Charles Westbrook?" "I just told the truth," Cole said simply. "Meeting is postponed until tomorrow afternoon, and I think Rowan Westbrook is on your side." Sienna leaned back against her pillows, processing this information. Rowan has been trying to modernize Westbrook Industries for years. Her father resists change at every turn. She looked at Cole with new respect. "You may have just changed the course of both our companies." Cole shrugged. "Just keeping my promise. Like I promised my daughter I would pick her up on time today." He checked his watch, which means I should go. "Wait." Sienna reached for his hand. Her touch was warm, her grip surprisingly strong. "I do not know how to thank you." "No need. Anyone would have done the same. We both know that is not true." Her brown eyes held his. "Let me help you with your garage. An investment, not charity." Cole stiffened. "I do not need handouts." "It is not a handout. It is good business." Sienna's voice was firm. "Your garage is in a prime location. With the right equipment and marketing, you could specialize in luxury cars. There is a shortage of honest mechanics who understand high-end vehicles. Every wealthy person I know complains about finding someone trustworthy." The idea took root in Cole's mind, despite his resistance. He thought of Ava, of the stability such a business could provide her. He thought about being able to pay for her college someday, about not lying awake at night calculating which bills he could delay. "I will think about it," he conceded. Sienna smiled. "That is all I ask." She hesitated, then added, "And maybe you could bring Ava to visit sometime. I would like to meet her." The request surprised Cole. "Why?" "Because," Sienna said softly, "today reminded me that there is more to life than boardrooms and balance sheets. I would like to know the little girl whose father keeps his promises, even to strangers. I have been so focused on building my empire that I forgot what really matters." 6 months later, Harris Luxury Auto Service opened its doors. It was a state-of-the-art facility specializing in high-performance and luxury vehicles, built on the same lot where Cole's grandfather had started the original garage 60 years before. A brass plaque near the entrance honored both men. Cole remained the owner and head mechanic, but now employed 3 additional technicians and an office manager. Sienna had been true to her word. It was an investment, not charity. She owned 30% of the business, but left the day-to-day operations entirely to Cole. Her counteroffer to Westbrook Industries had succeeded, resulting in a partnership rather than an acquisition, with Rowan Westbrook playing a key role in the new joint venture. Vale Tech Solutions maintained its independence while gaining access to resources that allowed it to grow even faster. But the most significant change was not professional. It was personal. What had begun as an unlikely encounter between 2 worlds had blossomed into something neither Cole nor Sienna had expected. They were taking it slow, mindful of Ava's feelings and the complexities of their different lives. But there was no denying the connection between them. Sienna had become a regular presence in their lives. She attended Ava's school plays and soccer games. She learned to braid hair from YouTube videos so she could help Cole with Ava's styling. She brought her corporate expertise to the garage while learning to appreciate the satisfaction of honest, physical work. On the day of the grand opening, as Ava proudly cut the ribbon in front of the new garage, Cole caught Sienna's eye across the crowd. She smiled, not the polished professional smile she wore in boardrooms, but the genuine warmth that made his heart skip. The crowd was diverse, a mix of neighborhood regulars and luxury car owners, old friends and new business partners. Rowan Westbrook was there, chatting with Cole's elderly neighbor, Mrs. Thompson. Ethan was photographing everything for social media. Daddy, Ava tugged at his sleeve, her eyes wide with excitement. "This is so cool. Are we rich now?" Cole laughed, kneeling down to her level. "We are blessed, baby girl. There is a difference." Ava considered this seriously. What is the difference? Rich is about money, Cole explained. Blessed is about people. Having people who love you and believe in you. Ava looked over at Sienna, who was now helping Mrs. Thompson to a seat. "Like Miss Sienna?" "Like Miss Sienna," Cole agreed. "And like you. You are my biggest blessing." Ava threw her arms around his neck. "I love you, Daddy. I love you too, baby girl. More than all the Ferraris in the world." That night, after the celebration had wound down and Ava was asleep in her bed, Cole and Sienna sat on his small porch, watching the stars appear one by one. "Thank you," Cole said quietly. "For what?" "For taking a chance on me. On us." Sienna reached for his hand. "You are the one who took a chance. You stopped for a stranger. You walked into a boardroom full of people who looked nothing like you and spoke truth to power. You let me into your life, into Ava's life." Cole was quiet for a moment. "When my wife died, I thought my life was over. I was just going through the motions, trying to survive for Ava's sake. I had forgotten that good things could still happen." Sienna squeezed his hand. "I know what you mean. I built my company as armor. Keep moving, keep achieving, and you do not have to feel anything. Then I collapsed in your parking lot, and a stranger saved my life in more ways than one." They sat in comfortable silence, two people who had found each other against all odds. "My grandmother used to say that God puts people in our path for a reason," Cole said. "I never really believed it until now." "What changed?" "You," Cole said simply. "Ava asked me this morning if you were going to be her new mommy." Sienna's breath caught. "What did you tell her?" "I told her that some things take time, but that I hoped so." He turned to face her. "Is that okay?" Sienna's eyes glistened in the starlight. "It is more than okay." A year later, they stood in the same parking lot where everything had begun. But now it was transformed, decorated with flowers and fairy lights for their wedding reception. The ceremony had been small, just family and close friends, held in the same church where Cole's parents had married and where Ava had been baptized. Sienna had worn a simple but elegant dress, her locks crowned with white flowers. Cole had worn a new suit, though he had insisted on keeping his grandfather's pocket watch. Ava had been the flower girl, scattering petals with serious concentration. Now, as the reception wound down and guests began to leave, Cole pulled Sienna onto the small dance floor for one last dance. Ava was asleep in Mrs. Thompson's arms, exhausted from the excitement of the day. "Mrs. Harris," Cole said, testing the name. "Mr. Vale," Sienna replied, making him laugh. "I am not changing my name, neither am I." "Harris Vale? Vale Harris? How about just us?" Cole suggested. "However we name it, we are family now." Sienna rested her head on his shoulder. "I never thought I would have this. A real family. Someone who sees me, not my company or my money, just me. I see you, Cole said. I have seen you since the moment you collapsed in my parking lot, too stubborn to go to the hospital. Sienna laughed. And I have seen you since you bundled me into your terrible truck and drove like a maniac to save my life. That truck has character. That truck has tetanus. They swayed together, surrounded by the ghosts of the past and the promises of the future. Cole's grandfather had built something real here, something that served the community. Now Cole and Sienna were building something new together, a family forged from chance and choice and the courage to reach across worlds. 5 years later, Cole stood at the entrance of the newly expanded Harris Luxury Auto Service, watching a familiar red Ferrari pull into the lot. Sienna emerged, looking as stunning as the day they had met, though her designer suit was now paired with sensible flats instead of heels. Running late? Cole asked, kissing her. Board meeting ran over. Sienna rolled her eyes. But I made it. I promised Ava I would be here for her presentation. They walked together to Westfield Elementary, hands intertwined. Ava was now 12, all long limbs and attitude. But she still lit up when she saw her parents enter the auditorium. Her presentation was on entrepreneurship, using Cole's garage as a case study. She spoke confidently about 3 generations of Harris mechanics, about innovation and adaptation, about how her daddy had taken a chance on a stranger and built something beautiful. In the audience, Cole felt tears prick his eyes. Beside him, Sienna squeezed his hand. After the presentation, as they celebrated with ice cream, Ava asked the question that had been on her mind. Mom, how did you and Daddy really meet? Sienna and Cole exchanged glances. I collapsed in his parking lot, Sienna said. And he saved my life. Ava wrinkled her nose. That is not romantic. It is the most romantic story I know, Cole said. Because it taught us that sometimes the best things in life come from the worst moments. That strangers can become family. That keeping your promises matters more than keeping your appointments. Ava considered this. I guess that is pretty cool. As they walked home, a family unit that had been forged from chance and choice, Cole thought about all the moments that had led to this one. The scream in the parking lot, the race to the hospital, the boardroom confrontation, the slow building of trust and love. He thought about his grandfather, who had built a business with his hands and his integrity. He thought about his father, who had kept that legacy alive through hard times. He thought about his late wife, who had given him Ava and taught him what love meant. And he thought about Sienna, who had crashed into his life and changed everything. Sometimes the universe puts people in your path exactly when you need them. Sometimes a moment of crisis reveals the truth of who we are. And sometimes, if you are brave enough to help a stranger, you find your way home. That night, as Cole tucked Ava into bed, she asked one more question. Daddy, would you do it again? Stop for a stranger like that. Cole smiled, thinking of all the ways that single decision had transformed his life. Every single time, baby girl. Every single time. He kissed her forehead and turned off the light, then joined Sienna in the living room. Through the window, they could see the lights of the city, full of strangers whose paths might cross tomorrow, whose lives might change in an instant. What are you thinking about? Sienna asked. About how lucky I am, Cole said. About how one moment changed everything. Sienna smiled, that genuine smile that still made his heart skip after all these years. Not luck, choice. You chose to help me. I chose to trust you. We chose each other. She was right, Cole realized. It was not luck or fate or cosmic intervention. It was simply two people choosing kindness over convenience, connection over isolation, love over fear. And that made all the difference.